Hello everyone, Ron here from RJJ's Reactions and continuing on with 21 Pilots and their album 21 Pilots. A car, a torch, a death. Interesting title. Let's see what they've got for us this time and we'll have a look at the lyrics afterwards. Here we go.
The air begins to feel a little thin as I start the car, and then I begin to add the miles piled up behind me. I barely feel a smile deep inside me, and I begin to envy the headlights driving south. I want to crack the door so I can just fall out. But then I remember when you packed my car, you reached in the back and buckled up your heart for me to drive away with. I began to understand why God died.
Okay, I love Tyler's voice as always, and I like the sort of industrial sound in behind. It sounds like metal clanking against two metal pieces clanking against one another. The lyrics are interesting. We'll have a look at them later. I'm not sure I'm going to decipher them well, but we'll see.
To drive away with, I began to understand why God died. And when my car was far out of sight, he crept in her room and stayed there for the night. And then I felt chills in my bones, the burn of my soul was not my own. I knew my feet, they ran my brain. Was it fate to play this game? And then I saw him, torch in hand. He laid it out what he had planned, and then I said, I'll take the grave, please just send them all my way. I felt chills in my bones, the breath I saw was not my own. I knew my feet, they ran my brain. Was it fate to play this game? And then I saw him, torch in hand. He laid it out what he had planned, and then I said, I'll take the grave, please just send them all my way. I began to understand why God died. The air begins to feel a little thin as we're waiting for the morning to begin. But for now, you told me to wait. It held your heart for me.
Wow, interesting song. Some of those sounds sound like really loud birds. I know it wasn't, but that's what it sounded like. And it was a great transition there earlier. I almost stopped, but then I thought I'd just let the song go. Yeah, really interesting. The lyrics are interesting. I heard them. Did I totally understand them? No, but I have a couple of ideas. So let's have a look at the lyrics now. Interesting title: A Car, a Torch, a Death, by 21 Pilots. Tyler Joseph writes his own lyrics. The air begins to feel a little thin as I start the car, and then I begin to add the miles piled up behind me. I barely feel a smile deep inside me. So it feels like somebody who's depressed. They're driving the car, but is the car a car, or is that his life? I think we talked about that in car radio. Um, Begin to add the miles piled up behind me. So all of the things that you've done in your life, um, yeah, the air begins to feel a little thin. You're having trouble breathing. All of that baggage, maybe. I barely feel a smile deep inside me, so maybe depressed. And I begin to envy the headlights driving south. I want to crack the door so I can just fall out, just end it, basically. But then I remember when you packed my car, you reached in the back and buckled up your heart for me to drive away with. I began to understand why God died. Now, I don't know who he's talking about, who packed their heart in the back of the car or whatever. The imagery is astonishing if you have a good imagination. But I know what, I more or less think I know what he means. So, someone he loves, uh, and I began to understand why God died. Now, this could be taken in several different ways, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as we go through because I want to see some more of the lyrics. I heard them through the song, but I want to see them again. Mm, yeah. So I think the love for somebody else can sometimes give you meaning, can sometimes make it worth continuing, because that's why he suddenly remembers this. The demon sat there waiting on her porch. It was a little dark, so we held a makeshift torch. That's the torch in the song, and of course we had the car. And when my car was far out of sight, he crept in her room and stayed there for the night. So for Tyler, the demons are usually at night, and the morning or the light, in this case a torch, is sort of drives them back or drives them away. That it doesn't work for me that way, but for him it seems to in many of his songs. And then I felt chills in my bones. The breath I saw was not my own. I knew my skin that wrapped my frame wasn't made to play this game. For me, I think this is so the chills in your bones. It could be thinking about the demon or experiencing the demon. The breath I saw was not my own. That could be taken different ways too, but I knew my skin that wrapped my frame wasn't made to play this game. He's talking about his breath and his skin as separate from him. There's him, and a lot of people think of this as the soul or the mind or whatever, because it feels like those are separate things. In reality, I don't believe they are, but it feels that way. There's me, and then there's this body, this baggage, um, and so his breath is not his own. But he could also be talking about experiencing, having a spiritual experience. I know that they were Christian and maybe still are. How heavily, I'm not sure because I see an awful lot of challenges in their songs. But nevertheless, either way, he's seeing something separate from himself. And that he wasn't made to play this game. And then I saw him, torch in hand. He laid it out what he had planned. And then I said, I'll take the grave. Please just send them all my way. So again, could be interpreted different ways. This could be God, torch in hand. He laid out what he had planned, um, but I'll take the grave. So, what does that mean? Now, of course, it could be referring to Jesus when he says, I begin to understand why God died. But then it could be that God died within the world or within people's beliefs. It hasn't, of course, yet. There's in my opinion, far too many who still believe in that mythology. But, but yes, it's reduced in some areas at any rate. And then I felt the chills in my bones. The breath I saw was not my own. I knew my skin that wrapped my frame wasn't made to play this game, so not meant for life, ready for death, which begs the question, because you could think of Jesus in that way. But then if he also didn't feel life was worth it, big questions there. I don't think that's where he's going in this song, but I have those questions. And then I saw him torch in hand. Okay, so these are the same. I began to understand why God died. The air begins to feel a little thin, and we're waiting for the morning to begin, so there's the light. But for now, you told me to hold this jar, and when I looked inside, I saw it held your heart for me to walk away with. I began to understand why God died. So, could be referring to the idea that they died for our sins, died for us to have life, and He's now responsible or feels more responsible or should continue with his life because he's holding your heart and he needs to help you, and maybe it's not one you, maybe it's many yous, maybe it's a lot of people. I'm not too sure about that. On the other side of things, we don't have to look at it that way. We can just look at it as we need to give up the mythology. We need to live a real life, our real lives, our human lives. And we should live our human lives, whether that's a few years or 80, 90, 100 years. That's pretty much maximum for most. And live it. Don't look for another life. Don't look for a life that comes after. Live this life and protect the people you know now, and make that worth your life. You have the hearts of other people, whether that's family, friends, or even strangers that you can assist, and so it's worth it. And now he sees that when the morning comes. He has to see it in the night as well, to get over all the demons that are lurking. I think this was intended to probably be more Christian, more religious. I understand that, but I'm taking it a different direction for myself, because there's no there's fun in mythology, and there can be meaning, but only as allegory, not as reality. And I prefer reality. As painful as it can be, it's certainly comforting to have other ideas, but still, I prefer the real thing. I liked this song. It won't be my favorite, I don't think, but I did really like this song, and I like the lyrics too, because again, they can be interpreted in many ways, and Tyler loves to do that, doesn't he? Loves to complicate things a little bit, and I think because it's complicated in his own mind, and so that's the way it comes out. That makes sense. All right, we will continue on with 21 Pilots, 21 Pilots, but let me know what else you would like to hear from them or anyone else. It's Ron from RJJ's Reactions. Keep listening, keep having fun. Bye bye for now.